Welcome back everyone to CruiseAway here on Gecko with Derek and Joe. This time we're heading on safari.
Aha!
How good. Yeah, we've got two incredible Dream Away holidays for next year, both of which taking the incredible Kruger National Park in South Africa. Exciting.
Yes, we are in search of the elusive Big Five and the ultimate in luxury for these trips. Cruising with Azamara, where you will enjoy the very best in laid-back yacht feel adventures, where you stay longer in port to really dive into the adventures within.
Yeah, this is the way to really travel. You'll absolutely love it. Now, we also have in the show a very special way for you to see in 2026 with Azamara right here in Sydney. But first, let's go to the two safari adventures. The first is November next year. It's over 23 nights in all, and we'll be sailing around South Africa, Madagascar and Mauritius. But part one of this holiday flies us from Sydney over to Johannesburg in South Africa for an unforgettable experience. Now, when you arrive at Johannesburg Airport in South Africa, we will be there to meet you, and you'll be escorted straight to your hotel to settle in, relax and get ready for the experience, which is going to involve some very, very early morning calls because you, my friends, are going on safari.
Yes, for the next 2.5 days, you'll be collected from your hotel and driven to the incredible safari park to see the elusive, potentially the elusive Big Five, the lion, leopard, rhinoceros, elephant and African buffalo in their natural habitat. How incredible will that be? And of course, seeing so many other lovely animals in the wild as well. You have got your breakfast and dinner included each day here as well, which is fantastic. And you'll also have the famous Shangan dancing at the hotel with dinner one night. So that's a nice thing to look forward to in the evening too. But my goodness, the pictures you will be taking day in and day out at seeing this natural wildlife it's going to be a once-in-a-lifetime experience. It really is.
And as you can see, you're in these open-air vehicles here, so you're as close to the animals in the park as you can be. Now, it's one of the oldest and largest wildlife parks in the world. It covers an area of over 7,500 miles. Wow. So you're going to have an exciting couple of days there. What will happen is you'll be collected from your hotel in the morning. You'll go and do your safari adventures in the morning, usually early morning and then the afternoon, and then you'll be driven back to the hotel. And as Joe mentions, one of the evenings in the hotel, you'll be treated to a special dinner and Shangan traditional dancing display as part of dinner one night at the hotel. So it's a really, really rounded experience, actually. It's one of those where your time in Johannesburg will go so quickly because you'll sleep so well after those safaris as well. Then we will fly you from Johannesburg over to Cape Town in South Africa, because this is somewhere and a city that you really need to see, of course, under the shadow of Table Mountain. You've got 2 nights in a hotel here, and this time in Cape Town is for you to spend exactly as you want to. I imagine you will want to go to or up Table Mountain. You'll want to go to Robben Island. There's many, many different choices. And then it is time for us to lap in the luxury of the Azamara Pursuit in Cape Town. You're going to be on board for 13 nights. In fact, night number 1 is an extra overnight on board in Cape Town itself.
Brilliant.
So it's a nice way to settle in to your wonderful ocean suite and just and look at it and say, this is wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, these are smaller ships, but you have a lot. The actual surface area, or shall we say the actual real estate on the ship, is still pretty big. It's just a smaller passenger allocation. So you have plenty of stateroom space and lots of space for lounging as well. And it is about voyaging, not just cruising. It's about the actual experience of incredible, luxury whilst you're on board the ship, from those fine details through to the thoughtful service and the higher staff to passenger ratio that you'll experience. Lots of inclusions as well, such as self-service laundry, such as port shuttles, such as your gratuities and your drinks, your beverages included on board. So there's lots of extras here. They often have an as amazing evening as well. When you're in port, they might bring on some local talent to do a show for you. It might be something different depending on the itinerary. So they really do pull out all the stops to make this a very special experience. Look, there's the chocolate fountain. How could you resist the chocolate fountain?
Oh, they're amazing. And they also do some tailoring of the menus as well, actually, while you're dining to the part of the world you are cruising, which in this case is going to be fascinating because you're going to be cruising out to Madagascar and Mauritius.
Ooh.
So there's going to be some exotic fare on the menu. There will be everything available, by the way, but it's quite nice sometimes to have a nod to the part of the world that you're in.
Think about the wine pairings potentially if we're in South Africa too.
Yes, of course,
absolutely. And we just saw some tanzanite there in the gift shops. Of course, it's from Africa, that gemstone as well. So we're heading to Port Elizabeth first of all, where you could visit the Kruger Gamma Game Park. And I know safari is going to be what this trip is about for lots of people in every port, as well as exploring, of course, the safari, the initial safari at the beginning of the trip. Next up, it's Durban, which is known for its gorgeous Golden Mile, which is 7 kilometres of beautiful beaches and lagoons. It is, you know, so it's a lovely climate, South Africa too, so it's quite lush. Then we're into Richards Bay, which is brimming with nature and wildlife. I mean, my goodness, birds and animal species galore. You've got Pelican Island there, where you can go and see the pelicans, of course, and the nature reserve is not too far away. Then we're on into Fort Dauphin, which is in Madagascar. Madagascar is known for the lemurs, so you might want to go to the lemur reserve and just see these gorgeous little creatures in their natural habitat, or maybe head to the beach because the beaches are stunning as well. Next up is Point de Galet in Reunion, and this beautiful little island is known for its volcanic rainforest, really the definition of tropical paradise. Also, you've got the St. Denis Cathedral if you want to go downtown and see some architecture. Then we're into Mauritius and we have an overnight on board, plus an additional 2 nights in a hotel. So whether it's getting out on the boat on the ocean and snorkeling and maybe even diving, or just going out in a sea kayak, you will see some beautiful marine life in Mauritius, stunning waterfalls. It's also lush and volcanic. The Pamplemousse Botanical Gardens are world famous. They are beautiful. There's also like a lovely different kind of juxtapose of cultural influences on this island. So expect lots of great restaurants as well, lots of fusion. So here's an overview of this epic adventure. Flying into Johannesburg, where you'll experience a few days on safari in, of course, the Kruger National Park, being picked up from your hotel every day in Johannesburg to experience that. Then we're flying to Cape Town to enjoy some days there before you head off your adventure around Africa, and then you'll disembark in Mauritius and we will fly you back to Sydney after that.
It's just perfect. The whole package here is just perfect for you if you are looking for an adventure that's really off the beaten track in terms of the safari adventure and the cruise itself. So included is your flight from Sydney over to Johannesburg. 4 days, remember, around the Kruger National Park on safari there, and your stay adventure, of course, in the city. Your flight from there to Cape Town for 2 nights there in a hotel, and your 13-night cruise with Azamara, with all the wonderful inclusions that beholds as well, cruising around South Africa, Madagascar, and ending in Mauritius. And you only have to say Mauritius, don't you? You're staying there for an overnight and 2 nights in a hotel. You only have to say Mauritius and you know it's wonderful. And of course, we include that reluctant flight back from Mauritius to Sydney. Now, with us enjoying the very, very highest caliber of cruise adventure that you possibly can here, and the stays, and that customized and bespoke tour on safari from Johannesburg, you expect this price tag to be in the tens of thousands of dollars, and it isn't, which is amazing. I was really, really shocked when I saw the price tag of this, because to put together safari experiences, to tie this up the way that we have, has not been a mean feat. It's been quite difficult to do. And given the caliber of the Azamara cruise as well, which is really laid back, pared back luxury cruising with many more inclusions than standard, you know, larger commercial cruises, this is amazing. It really is. I would snap it up as quickly as you can. If you would like to upgrade your accommodation on board Azamara, then here are the prices for that. So if you do want to go right the way up to that luxurious suite experience, you have it here. Everyone, just take it as read that everyone on board that Azamara Pursuit ship has the best of everything. It's as simple as that. The bare minimum on Azamara is amazing. It's far better than any kind of hotel experience that you've ever had on land, and to have cultural experiences, tailored enrichment as part of that, the most incredible fine dining and so much more is incredible. Listen, have a chat with our team right now, 1300 408 764. It's a toll-free call, remember, if you have any questions there whatsoever. It's an amazing experience to do, a safari experience as well. We can only show you a certain element of that because every safari experience is completely and utterly unique, and that's the great thing about going on safari. No two are ever the same. And our second adventure to Kruger takes an incredible journey across the west of Africa with your Azamara cruise before heading on your search for the Big Five in Kruger. Now, this 31-night, month-long dream away starts on the 22nd of October next year, and we're flying this time from Sydney to Lisbon in Portugal, which is way off from South Africa, but it'll all make sense very soon. Lisbon itself, an incredibly charming city in its own right, so we're staying here for 2 nights in a hotel, and you'll be massively grateful for that as well, because it's an amazing city. There's lots to see in it and around it as well. It's a very, very charming city, lots of sights there, lots of wonderful shopping, the transport. You can see the Christ the Redeemer statue which looks over the river at Lisbon. You can go down the coast to Cascais, you can go up and see the palaces in Sintra. So much there for you to do. And then we're cruising to South Africa with Azamara, and we are back on the pursuit again here as well for you for 21 amazing nights. Now, if you've never cruised with Azamara before, oh my word, prepare to be spoilt, to prepare to see a different level of cruising. Prepare for an experience that you will want to repeat again and again and again. The luxury cruise market is the fastest growing part of the cruise market right now, because people have different expectations. If you've done a lot of cruising and a lot of traveling over the years, you've cruised with everyone, you've cruised with everything, and now you think, actually, you know what, now is my time to have that slightly more exclusive feel, to have everything taken care of, to make the budgeting very, very easy, and to just enjoy the very finest of everything, and do that in an unashamed way. Do it in a nice, comfortable, casual way. Meet the most fascinating people, and also meet the most fascinating crew on board as well, and have time to interact with them that you maybe don't get on one of the larger, more commercial cruise lines.
Yeah, and I always feel like Azamara is more low-key luxury. It's not about when you go on board these vessels, it's not about having to dress up to the nines every night. It's about the actual experience being elevated. So you can be as casual or as glamorous as you want to be. The spaces are quite simply elegant. They're not over the top, yet you have quality in everything on board the ship.
That's the word, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is quality, and it is much about quality time. So you get a lot more quality time because you're not waiting around in queues. You're not waiting for tenders to go into
extra port time.
You're not stood in queue. Yes, you're there longer in port as well. So the quality is the whole experience, and it really is worth investing in. It's incredible. Remember, we're coming out of Lisbon in Portugal here, our first days at sea.
Yes, and then we're heading into Lanzarote, where you can visit the Timanfaya National Park, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You can go and see geysers and thermal pools because it's geothermal. Maybe do a dune safari, or head to the beach when you're in the Canaries. And Gran Canaria is next. Also very beautiful, lovely sort of year-round mild climate, this part of the world. You've got lovely sort of traditional town square, because we are in Spain as well, here as well. So if you want to see some lovely architecture, you will have that in abundance. Next up, it's Dakar in Senegal. Wow, we don't see on this on many itineraries at all. Known for thriving African art and famous stone circles that you might want to visit too, the megalithic complexes. You can do a tour, of course, over there. Banjul in the Gambia is next, and known for its incredible wildlife, where you can visit the Kiang West National Park or the Gilo National Park whilst you're there, or go and hunt the crocs at Kakachali. Now we are into Jamestown in St Helena as our next port of call, where you can see ancient shipwrecks, giant stairways, great forts, natural wonders, and incredible walks, and indeed there's some tours to see the dolphins as well whilst you're in that port. Walvis Bay, Namibia is next on the itinerary, and we've got an overnight here because it is a popular safari destination, so just giving you that extra little bit of time to go and see some of the lovely wildlife, or perhaps do a safari, or even scale the dunes on safari whilst you're there. Flamenco Lagoon is a famous point of interest. Next up, it's Luderitz in Namibia. Lovely coastal town in southwestern Namibia, known for its German colonial buildings, and you also have the very, imposing Art Nouveau house built into the rock face in Diamond Hill. We're going to disembark in Cape Town, and we'll have 2 nights in a fabulous hotel here before we fly to Johannesburg and go on safari. Now, Cape Town is amazing. It is bustling and thriving. A lot of people compare it to Sydney in some ways, but of course it's very different at the same time as well. Similar climate to Sydney. You can go to Shark Alley and dive with the great whites. I'm just going to go there straight away. Table Mountain, of course, is an amazing viewpoint. There's lots of lovely beaches, great cuisine in South Africa. You might want to head to the traditional tribal villages. You can do a tour there to kind of experience, a day in the life of how the local people live, and they'll invite you into the home and that kind of thing. But then it's time for us to head to Kruger National Park. Of course, we'll have flown to Johannesburg, and each day you will be taken out to this incredible safari park to experience, usually early in the morning, your chance of seeing the incredible Big Five whilst you're out there on safari. Your chance to see amazing elephants and rhinos and zebras and the giraffes, my goodness, in their natural habitat. And just seeing these animals is going to be thrilling, I think.
And because the park is so vast, you're driving around and you are seeing nothing around you but habitat.
Yes.
I think that's great. I mean, this is how this completely and utterly differs from any kind of zoological experience you could have anywhere in the world.
There's nothing like it. It is like being out on the plains of the savannah. It is like being out in the wild. You're not in a park. You don't feel like you're in a park. You are, but you're not. So here's your overview. Flying into Lisbon, heading out on the pursuit through the Canaries, then into Africa and some amazing ports, jumping off in Cape Town, exploring 2 days there, flying to Joburg, and then you've got your incredible Kruger safari before we fly you back to Sydney.
It is amazing the way this is all put together as well. You have absolutely no worries whatsoever. Literally, just book this experience and we will take care of everything for you. We'll tell you where to be and when, and we'll sort out all of the stays and the flights and stitch that beautifully together. So we'll just literally send you the tickets and say, there you are, you're welcome. But you will be amazed at the price tag that we have for this entire package. Remember, it's 31 nights all told, and the price includes your flight from Sydney over to Lisbon, 2 nights in a hotel there, 21 nights of more inclusive luxury cruising with Azamara on the pursuit, across down to the Canaries, to West Africa, onto Cape Town in South Africa, where we'll then stay and then fly to Johannesburg and enjoy your 4-day safari experience there, which is all fully escorted as well for you before your flight back to Sydney. And again, it's something which sounds like tens and tens of thousands of dollars. And it really isn't. And this is a really hearty holiday where so many memories come back. So many different elements to this holiday as well. It is incredible. Now remember, the mainstay of this holiday is that Azamara luxury cruise, which you will love. And I'm so glad it's such a long cruise as well. So if you would like to upgrade your experience on board in terms of your accommodation, we've got ocean view and balcony and suite prices there to show you. But again, as I said in the first offer, everyone has the very best of everything when you cruise with Azamara. Longer stays in port, wonderful enrichment on board as well. So you will be experiencing full presentations of the parts of the world you're about to go to. And on this itinerary, they're very unfamiliar to most of us. As Joe mentioned before, there's ports on that itinerary that pop up only on a handful of itineraries throughout 1 year with every single cruise line. Do you know what I mean? We might see 2 or 3 itineraries ever that go to some of the ports that are on this itinerary as well. It's incredible. 1300 408 764 is the toll-free number if you want to talk to one of our team. Now, I'm really excited about our final Azamara adventure because it gives us the best view of the Sydney Harbour celebrations to see in the new year.
Yes.
How about being on top deck of Azamara Pursuit with front row views of the party? It sounds good, doesn't it? Well, let's build up the excitement in style as you start 22 nights on the 13th of December. This is for next year, flying either from Sydney or Melbourne over to Singapore, and we're going to start there with a night in a hotel before we cruise. Now, this will be super exciting.
Yeah.
You know what any city is like at this time of the year. It's a real buzz, isn't it?
Yeah, there's just a really feeling in the air of magic at this time of year, isn't there?
Yes.
Whether you're Christmas shopping or just exploring the markets and restaurants, you will love it. And then it's time for us to cruise on board the beautiful and elegant Azamara Pursuit. We're going to be on board here for your fabulous 21-night cruise. More comfort, more luxury, more space, more service. So you're going to have the higher ratio, which is, of course, staff to guest, which is great to know, right? It's the little touches that I love about Azamara. You're sitting poolside and they might come around with a cool towel and a fruit kebab for you, while you're there. Thoughtful touches, and of course you've got lots more packed into your cruise fare for value. Things like your drinks are included, your tips are included, you've got your port shuttles in the ports included, self-service laundry, concierge service. So it's all of these things. And I think for the elevation of quality, Azamara is very well priced in the marketplace.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
And actually it's I think it's just the variety of experience on board as well. For instance, you're more likely to run into either the cruise director or some of the senior officers on
Yes.
board. And it's not just seeing them walking past and then someone saying to you, well, that was the captain. You've got the chance to actually interact with them and talk with them and, and tell your story and hear their stories. And even when you're talking to the wonderful crew who are serving you in the restaurant or behind the bar or at the coffee shop or whatever it might be, you've got time to hear their story as well, and they've got time to talk to you. They're not 12 deep at the bar.
Yeah.
And actually it's those kind of things that you come away and think, do you know what, that was really lovely. I loved the higher elevation of the dining and everything else, but just getting to know people, the crew on board, the wonderful luxury that we enjoyed, and it was so relaxed and comfortable on board. Everyone had the most fantastic time on board, which is brilliant. So we are taking our 21 nights, which is going to be incredible, out of Singapore, of course. First couple of days at sea.
Then we're into Bali. Silakan Bawang in the north of Bali is where we're stopping off here. And the northern part is great for visiting the volcano, Pura Ulun Danabata, which is a beautiful temple by the water, and the monkey forest. In fact, you can visit the monkey forest here in Benua, which is another stop in Bali, more south. So incredible paddy fields to visit. Up in the mountains, you can head to Uluwatu Temple. There's lots of beautiful temples in Bali that are absolute must-sees. Then we're into Fremantle, over in Perth, where you can go and see the prison, of course. Maybe you're going to head to a winery such as Swan Valley or a microbrewery whilst you're there. Perth Zoo is also fantastic. If you've never been there, I'd highly recommend it. Next up, we're into Margaret River, which is a vibrant coastal city. It's laid back, it's charming. You've got an array of natural wonders, of course, the caves right there as well. And 120 premium wineries within the radius. Now you're going to be enjoying Christmas at sea before heading into Adelaide. And we're going to, of course, be here a few days after Christmas, which is great. So you might want to get in, do some shopping in the Christmas sales, post-Christmas sales, or head to Barossa for a wine tour whilst you're there. Kangaroo Island's next, and this is a lovely nature reserve, of course, and over the third of the island is protected. You're going to be seeing things like sea lions, koalas, and of course diverse bird species whilst you're into this island, and the penguin colonies, of course, as well, that it's famous for. Then we're into Eden, talking about wildlife. Again, a great place to head to wildlife sanctuaries. Then the Killer Whale Museum is top on the list for many tourists into this port, and you've got Ben Boyd's Tower, of course, as well. Next up, we are into Sydney, where we will Oh, we've got a double overnight there. That's right. So you're actually going to be here over New Year to see the New Year's Eve fireworks in Sydney Harbour without having to wrestle the crowds or worry about getting a hotel, maybe, because you're going to be there on the ship, which is great. And I think you're just going to have front row seats that everyone will be jealous of, watching that incredible firework display, which is like nowhere else on earth. If you've seen it, you'll know what I mean. Maybe you haven't seen it before, and this is going to be a first. So an amazing experience. I think I love that we're finishing up there. And then we'll have a day at sea and we'll disembark in Melbourne after this amazing adventure.
Well, you know what it's like normally. If you want to head in and go and see the fireworks at Sydney, you've got to make a big effort, haven't you, to get there. You've got to work out how you're going to get there. Are you going to stay? Will there be any hotel rooms? If you're not going to stay, how are you going to get home? And actually, it's a good job the fireworks are in the dark almost, because there'll be some very envious looks, I think, at you where you're there on the top deck of the Azamara Pursuit with your glass of champagne, seeing the new year in. Amazing. Absolutely incredible. Again, this is one of those opportunities that needs doing, doesn't it? Absolutely needs doing. And you've got such a massive cruise on this as well, and you will really appreciate that in terms of the levels of luxury, the level of everything on board. I mean, the fact that the end of this is enjoying that double overnight in Sydney, so you can be there for the New Year's Eve fireworks. So remember, you can fly on this one from Sydney and Melbourne. You can disembark in either Sydney or Melbourne as well. It's completely up to you. And you've got the most amazing price tag here. To do a completely and utterly elevated experience. Good time of year to do it as well, right? And listen, if you want to upgrade your accommodation on this particular offer, let's have a look at the prices there for Ocean View, Balcony and for Suite. But what an amazing way to see in a new year. Maybe it's a big year for you in one way or another. Maybe that's it to the world of work. Goodbye, farewell, sayonara. Or maybe it's a big anniversary that you're going to be celebrating. Maybe you're coming up to a big birthday with a 0 at the end, and you want a very special way to mark it. Maybe this is honeymoon territory. And I don't mean first, it could mean second, or third, or fourth, with the same person preferably, you know. You've got a year to change them, if you want to, I suppose. Don't do that though. Stick around, you know. Sometimes you find a good bit of furniture, you know, it moulds itself around you, doesn't it? Bit like a marriage.
Exactly.
Moulds its way around you eventually, doesn't it? You get used to it. What a wonderful experience to have, right? 1300 408 764 is our toll-free number to call it if you fancy getting involved in that. So, safari or fireworks in Sydney? What are we thinking?
Can we do both?
Well, yeah, of course we can do both. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, tempting.
Yeah, I mean, a safari experience. I've never done. I've done one of those safari parks where you drive through in your own car.
Not the same.
Not the same at all.
No, not the same. This is otherworldly.
Yeah.
Many people just talk about this being the best thing they've ever done, going on safari in Africa. So if it's always been on the bucket list, like, make it happen. And combining it with a cruise, doesn't that just make sense?
Yeah.
Doesn't that just take a lot of weight off your mind that everything's kind of organised for you?
You get so much more holiday for it, don't you? You get to see so many more different places and safari. It doesn't have to be the one thing that you do on that holiday. It's one of many. It's like a faceted diamond that shines from every angle.
There might be some nice diamonds on offer down in South Africa. And known for their gemstones, right? So maybe you're going to go to the market and shop for gems. Who knows? Or lovely artifacts, because, you know, those options are on the table when you're on holiday. They are. Talk to our team. And listen, we'll be back to CruiseAway again very, very soon here on Gecko. Come back and join us. See you soon. Bye.